Hey, I've got an opportunity here to be with Coach Don Carter. I'm really excited to just kind of hear what he has to say and give you a coach's perspective by Don Carter.
Well, when it was not difficult for me to choose coaching as a profession because partially reared by a really good staff of coaches at Sweeney High School. My mom died early, young in life. I was a junior. My dad moved away then to be with his mom in Paris, Texas. And the coaches there, Coach Buddy Hobson, Coach Ken Dabbs, they just took care of me, so to speak. I mean, now my neighbor allowed, a good Christian friend, allowed me to move in with them. But if I needed anything, whether that was money for gas, I didn't go asking these coaches for it, but they knew that I could work and would do any kind of work. And so they would regularly call me. And I always had a concern while I was in the service, and then later on I had a concern about, how am I going to pay those guys back? And then I talked about it with some friends, and they said, well, look, this is an option. And so, athletics have been a part of mine and my brother's life there at Sweeney. It was not difficult at all to decide to return to athletics. And then after finding a startup in East Texas and then worked my way back throughout most of Southeast Texas, I was single, planting flowers and not trees. But I learned as that every school has different athletes, has different students, and you got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to change to those. And I was pleased that I didn't have a lot of trouble adjusting. The interracial business, I'm very fortunate that I had never had, even though I went to segregated school. But through the service and through other connections with folks of different racial blends, I didn't have any trouble adjusting to dealing with the different races that we had, which was primarily Hispanic and African American. And so having a handle on those two, and it was very well adding to that there was some success. That always helps. And that success was largely attributed to everyone in our racial mix. And so I kind of wanted to, that was one of the things I wanted to do. As guys left our program, and a couple of times as a head coach, but most of the times as a line coach, as guys left the program, I wanted them to have that idea that despite being a racial mix, we're all in this together, and it takes all of us. So, we all got to honor and work with each other. And so that was a lot of what coaching has meant to me, and and I miss it a lot. But that is pretty well my favorite part. Has always been when a student is really struggling grade-wise, that to be at their graduation was and that person was an athlete.
Yeah.
That was always a good thing.
Yeah.
Especially if he was one that I dealt with specifically. And then another really special part of my coaching was association with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. For about a dozen years, we took some guys in the summertime either to Black Mountain, North Carolina, or to Estes Park, Colorado. And that was good to see some of those guys after they'd grown, after they, and see how that had stayed with them and affected their lives. That was important. Yeah. And I was glad that athletics, it was only through athletics that I had that, and through coaching that I had that opportunity.
That's right.
And so that's pretty much it, unless you want to get into some X's and O's and stuff.
Yeah, no, sir. I was just going to say, and you've kind of hit on it already. You know, what can coaches today do to help our student athletes be successful in life? And you've kind of said a few things.
Well, first off, would be to convince them that athletics is not everything. Other incredibly important parts of a student athlete's growth toward taking his place in society. And although I think athletics and the confidence that's given from it is important, first off, I would encourage, and always did, our guys, and in coaching girls, to encourage our guys to start to decide about what's after high school. Spend some time, talking to them about it, and to try to help get them pointed in at least some positive hints toward, where they might go job-wise, what they're going to do professionally or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I really think, and of course this was in athletics all the time, I really think one of the most important things that we could teach, and I hope and I know some are still teaching kiddos today, is to not resist challenges, to meet them, and when those challenges come along in life, to meet them. And I think athletics provides a way to do that. And so I would hope today that coaches would continue to get their student athletes to accept any challenges, whether they be health-wise or whether they be family concerns, that they would just meet those challenges and not deny them, and to meet them on level ground and not turn away from them.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I guess, Coach, my last one would be, is there anything in particular that you would want to say to a young coach or coaches in our profession just about getting into this profession, or about just any of that at all? And that'll be my last question for you, Coach, if you don't mind.
Well, first off, I would say I don't think it's something about just playing games and stuff. It will involve the hard work of coaching, plus teaching, be prepared to teach, and you're going to find out that teaching's a whole lot better than you think it. And the other thing is to take a personal interest in your athletes, to take a personal interest in them and be with them, when they need you, whether that is at a family funeral or whether that is visiting them if they're sick in the hospital or something like that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. I want you to guys know that Don is so well respected by so many coaches that he's worked with through the years, and I know a lot of them. Actually, we coached against each other, and his team they were always so well coached, and anyway, very well respected, and I really appreciate what he has to say, and I know that there's a lot of good stuff in what he's saying, and I hope it can help us. So today you've heard a coach's perspective with Coach Don Carter. Thank you.